go. Here we go.
Okay.
Cheri Ruskus, thank you for
Woohoo!
joining me. It's good to have you.
It's good to be here.
It's before we get our conversation started,
Yes.
I want to share with the people who are watching why we're here,
Why
which
are
is
we
it.
here?
Why are we? I mean, why are any of us here? If we want to get
Exactly.
if we want to get philosophical and slightly existential, we could go there. So Cheri is a member of Confidently Speaking, which is a group coaching program where we do improv for speakers. And it's been running for about 2+ years now. And we have an incredible group of supportive people who are all working towards being better speakers, whether that be online, here, like we're doing today, on podcasts, on stages, in networking groups, wherever you want to show up in the world, which is we are being called to do that and use our voices. One of the things I do with them every month is we do these challenges, and oftentimes I'll say, hey, who wants to pop onto a live with me? And you get to pick your platform of choice. And because that's another muscle to exercise. I don't know how many of you who are watching right now have done YouTube lives or LinkedIn lives, Instagram lives, either with somebody else or by yourself, which is also a totally different muscle, but it's really takes practice. So here we are practicing and hopefully adding some value for you. So Cheri, as always, I'm thrilled to have a conversation with you today.
Ditto, my friend.
Yeah. And so why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners, the viewers right now, and just tell them briefly kind of what this intersection is that you're in. And let's have a juicy conversation about that.
It's interesting, the whole idea of introducing myself anymore, because I'm at this plateau of who the heck am I at this point of the game. But I'm getting clearer and clearer every day. And my name is Cheri Ruskus, and I have, for the last 24 years, I have been a business coach in one of my areas of life. I have also raised two wonderful, amazing children who have made their mama proud. I live in Colorado, and where I met Meredith many moons ago. And I'm really at this point in life where I'll just say it out loud. I turned 66 back in August. And it really was a transformative birthday for me, where I really came to this point of where are you going and why are you going there? And so that's where I'm at right now. And how can I take all the lessons learned along the way and put them into something else. And one of my biggest passions in life is gardening. And my kids back in May had surprised me for Mother's Day and came to see me, and they said, Mom, you got to change things up. And I was like, get out of here. I'm good. And but it somehow came into my subconscious being that indeed I did. So we can talk more about it, but that's who I am and where I am right now.
And so your gardening has been really, I would say, transformative for you, hasn't it? Like
Totally.
Yeah, and healing.
I can't imagine my life without my garden from a mental place. I recently did a real short, whatever, on, green thumbs. People say you have to have a green thumb. And it's not about that. It's about like helping something else to grow, to take your mind off of whether it's the troubles of the world, your own life, stress that we feel as parents, entrepreneurs, etc. And it's just when I get into the garden, which sadly, we hit 27 degrees here this morning in Colorado. So gardening time is over. I'm kind of in a little bit of a depression today.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I will carry on and plan for the garden next year. But it's really been a mindful thing for me. And I realize that's part of my purpose and passion right now, is helping other people to find that outlet and the creative juices that gardening can give you. And so.
Can you bring some of that garden inside?
Oh, I have. I mean,
Good.
here, and if you can see it on my screen, this is my around my Halloween
I
decorations
love it.
is my last bouquet, but I brought a ton of plants indoors, and I've told my husband that, like, one of my big goals right now is a greenhouse. If I had a
Ooh.
greenhouse, ooh, it would be awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, what I'm hearing in everything you just said too is that there's something about taking it off of yourself and putting it towards and being patient with helping someone, not someone, these are plants, but helping the
Oh,
plants
there's some.
grow. But then there, it also, I would imagine that meditative
Oh,
space that you need to be in, I would imagine also helps you just interact with people on a day-to-day basis.
totally. I mean, and, I named my YouTube channel Grow You, and, because it's about growing you. It's about growing plants, but it's also about growing you. And you can find it under my name of Cheri Ruskus, but it is called Grow You, and I'm working on how to make that more findable. I think is the word findable. Is that a word?
It is today.
It
Mhm.
is today because it's
It's
Findable Friday. Yeah.
Findable Friday. Well, so talk to me about, let's talk about retirement because I feel that is something that we have been taught early on. That's a part of this linear landscape that we've been taught to be on, right? And I'm being careful with my words because I want to be, gentle with our audience here. But I have a hard time with the idea of retirement. I'm not near it yet. I'm getting closer to it as every day passes. But talk to me a little bit about that because there's a lot of buzz about people saying actually it's healthier for you to continue working in some capacity. So
Totally.
here you are reinventing yourself.
Yeah, and it seemed like that thing that was down the road,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I'll get to it. And I always said, because I absolutely love my work as a business coach, right? I
Yeah.
like the creating, the helping others create, like it was great in many ways. So I said, I'll never retire. It's just not going to happen. I'll,
Right.
roll me down to wherever because that's when I'll be done. And but then something happened that I wasn't expecting. My husband retired. And when he and I the summer before, so it's been a year since he retired.
Mhm.
And that summer before, and I work from home.
Mhm.
So I knew that my space was about to be invaded big time. And um I sat with that the summer before, really trying to figure out what did I want, what did I want. Nothing happened, and I just continued on. And then he was home, and there's been a lot of shifts in our relationship and all that. And what I realized was it wasn't working anymore for me to have to go. And then he would say things like, well, just go in your office and work. And I'm like, yeah, that's not how I roll. Like I like to sometimes work at the kitchen table, out in the back. It's like don't put me in this office for 8 hours a day. It ain't happening. So that's really, I think, the catalyst that started really brewing in me of then what. And there's this whole thing, Meredith, around travel. And my husband would say it, we're going to travel. Well, what does that mean? Like, we only have so much money to travel with. And, so there was that piece of it. And like purpose, what's the purpose?
Right.
And I went to a retreat back in, this was the big turning point for me. I went to a women's retreat in Southern Colorado back in July. And one of the exercises that our facilitator had was about let go of something. So I said, I said, I'm going to let go of fear. And then the next morning, I'm up doing my meditation, and I did this walk around this labyrinth that they
Mhm.
had there at the facility. And I'm like, Cheri, what are you afraid of? And the big thing that came up for me, Meredith, I was afraid of change. Like, this is what I've known. I have my clients, I have, what I've done, going and speaking on stages even. But I talked about marketing and about business and all these things that I really don't want to talk about anymore. I mean, and that's the truth of it. I don't, because it's the creative side, all of that. And I really had a breakthrough in my own mind that day, and talking to the group about it. And I cried. I cried a lot because it was letting go of something that was beloved to me. And I think as we, as we age, we say our children grow up and we say goodbye to them and we say goodbye to so many things. I've unfortunately had to say goodbye to my parents and my in-laws and like people that you love in life that are permanently gone. And it was like, could I handle one more thing to say goodbye to? And the answer was I had to be true to myself. And I wasn't going to sit around and just garden. That was what I knew to be true, because the isolation of that just seemed a little too much for me, because I am a people person and I do like, being around people. So that's when I decided, how do I share this with others, this gift of gardening? Because the other piece of all of this, I love this planet. I love the earth. I love getting my fingers in the dirt. And I know how much it not only helps, like I've said, my mindful part of it, but it's just that I'm giving back. I'm giving back to the planet. And it's so important to me. And I want to be a cheerleader for the planet, if you will, that to get out there, because the more that we care about it, more that we don't put in these green lawns with sprinklers and use water just to have a perfect looking lawn, but actually grow flowers for the bees and the birds and all the good stuff. And maybe some veggies in there too, if you so feel like it. But that's really what it became very clear that I wanted to do that.
I love it. And I love that you're going to inspire so many other people through doing what you really just took the time to listen to yourself. And I know it took the retreat to do that, but I have a feeling, because I know you, Cheri, that you would have eventually gotten to that place regardless.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel that is when people struggle, and I think most people struggle with change. I feel like your message to just give yourself permission to pause and ask that question, what are you scared of, is incredible, because I feel that many of us, it doesn't even need to be retirement. We could have our 3, 4, 5 chapters of
Right.
different career choices within our lives. And it's an okay thing to do. And like for me, I used to freelance as a performer all the time. I was auditioning, I was creating work, I was doing all of it. And if it hadn't actually been for the pandemic, I wouldn't have realized that those choices I was making, even though I love it and I love sharing stories and I love entertaining, and I still do. But I was kind of burnt out. I was kind of exhausted by it. And that was painful to admit.
Totally. And I think that if we can, and you use the word pause, and I think that's the key for me right now, is to not just jump into something else. I'm still coaching. My goal is to transfer over completely in 2024. But right now it's just the transitional, and to listen. And I can't tell you, from astrological forecasts to just little messages here and there, where it's just like, sit back and listen. I'm a doer. I am a doer.
We have that in common.
Okay.
Let's do it.
But I gotta just listen. I gotta listen to, and it's been fun. I've been really building up my YouTube channel. I've got to, we're doing, me and my creative assistant, who Callie, shout out to her, she's awesome. I'm doing 3 YouTube videos a week, and one is on the mindfulness piece of it. So I call it Morning Momentum Mondays. I'm doing garden time on Wednesdays. So now that there's not much gardening to be had, I will talk about indoor plants a little bit, but I'm going to bring on a lot of gardeners as guests to talk about that. And I'm going to go to warm places. I've decided go visit warm gardens in warm places. So I'm going to do that in a couple of weeks. And then Friday is Free Fall Friday. Like, one of the things I did, and I don't even know if I've told you this, but I went out, I don't know if you could see it on the screen, but I got a tattoo.
You did? I love it.
Yeah. So my video that's coming out today is Friday.
Yeah.
Free Fall Friday is today. And I have a video about the whole tattoo experience. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. I've actually been thinking,
is every time I look at it, it reminds me not to be afraid. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the big piece, is that you can do hard things, and it really wasn't that hard. The hardest part is the permanence of it, right? Because
It's not going anywhere.
it's not going anywhere. So it's all good.
It's all good. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, I was thinking of getting one of a poppy flower because remember you sent me that card. It's always
Yeah.
been my favorite flower when my
Mm,
sweet dog passed away. So
yes.
yeah. But we'll see if I'm brave enough.
Right. And that's what I got, a pansy. I did do a pansy.
You did a pansy. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. So tell me, what is like you're going to be continuing doing these videos. You're going to, where's the first place you're going to that's warm?
We're actually going to California. My daughter lives in San Diego, so we're
Okay.
going in 2 weeks. I have another one of my best friends growing up. Her daughter's getting married, so we're going
Okay.
out to California for 10 days. San Diego, LA, Santa Barbara. Yeah, and so I'm going to visit quite a few gardens while I'm there. Yeah,
That's
in
great.
between all the festivities. Yeah.
So we'll be able to see your YouTube videos.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And so tell me, do you have any gardeners right now that are incredibly inspiring to you?
Oh my gosh, yes, there is many. I mean, Linda Vodder is one who is just one. She's out of Oklahoma City. There's another woman. I have her book actually right here. I'm going to give Allison a shout out, the Garden Makers. I just got her book. I want to interview her. So Allison, I'm going to be hitting you up here. But yeah, there's a number of them that I follow on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram. So there's a lot of people that I follow. Laura at Garden Answer is one. There's
Mhm.
just a lot and it's nice to see people around the country in different zones. I'm in zone 5 here in Colorado. So it's just nice to see people in other parts of the country too.
That's really cool. That's very, very cool. So
Actually, I'll confess something. Every morning I wake up and I watch gardening videos on YouTube.
you're into gardening porn?
I am. I don't
You
let
heard
it
it here.
go.
Gardening
We
porn.
can keep that between us.
I will totally keep that between us and everybody else who might be watching this right now or in the future. And hello and welcome. So if you're okay, let's pivot just a little bit. And I would love, because you're here because of Confidently Speaking, and also because we've known each other, like you said, for many moons. And I just adore you. And I'm so glad you're a part of this community. And I'm just curious, what is it that you feel you get the most of out of being in Confidently Speaking as a person in the world, as a speaker, all that good stuff?
It just makes me stop. I think sometimes especially when it comes to speaking, and whether we're doing videos or speaking on a stage or whatever, it's like we get so inside of our heads. And one of the things that I love about Confidently Speaking is that I know for 1 hour every week for sure that I can get out of my head. And just because you're giving us exercises that we're doing and reacting. And even this week, we were really helping another team member, figure out what her voice needed to be. And I loved that. Again, it wasn't about me. It was about helping her to figure out what she wanted. And that's for me the biggest part. I mean, not to mention, we do laugh a heck of a lot.
We do. We do. Yeah.
And the joy of it, and as you said, the people that are in our group are just lovely. Just lovely people.
They are really lovely, very supportive people. And in fact, we had 2 of our members just a couple of days ago. I produced an event here in Midtown in near Times Square. I produced a speak event. So we had 10 speakers on stage doing about a 10-minute talk. And Tina and Catherine were both presenting there. So I got to see Catherine for the very first time in person.
Wow.
And they both did a tremendous job.
Wow. Can you bring that to Colorado, please?
Well, somebody in Colorado can produce it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I'm just saying, Cheri. I mean, I don't know. In between gardening.
In between gardening, maybe. I got 6 months to figure some shit out.
Yeah, you let me know. You let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I will actually, because you should get on stage and actually tell your story, and you can't
Yeah.
really produce and tell your story at the same time.
Yeah.
Good, but that'd be too
Exactly.
much.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I am trying to work my magic a little bit to get one produced in Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you. I support you. And I
Yeah,
will support it. Yeah.
amazing. So tell me, is there anything else that's exciting that's on the horizon that you feel that we should be talking about?
I just want to say a shout out to those in my age group. And, I mean, one of the things my husband and I have talked about it. I hope he doesn't care that I'm saying this, but if he does, what are you going to do? Um, is that, he thankfully, and I'm grateful to that he planned retirement for the financial piece of it, right? So
Yeah.
that security blanket is there, but not the mental piece of it and the keeping active and again, more than just travel or playing golf. Because you can, I don't know, I have some friends who can play golf all day every day, but
God bless.
there's got to be more. There's got to be more to keep your mind and the purpose filled piece of it. So I think that's really what I want to bring home, and the growth piece of it for you. Like, what haven't you done that you said you were going to do? And whether it's a tattoo or it's climbing a mountain or running a race, or like, I think that because 66 got here so dang fast, that I want to be healthy, I want to be active, I want my mind to be active. And I tell you, I have some friends right now who are my age who have parents in their late 80s and 90s who are just suffering because they didn't. And they sat in front of the TV and just, there's like science out there about if you sit too much, how it can affect you and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's really getting out there, and that's another beautiful thing about gardening, is that it is one great exercise. Squats, plentiful.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing you talk a lot about mindset too. And so
Oh,
when it's not just distracting yourself with another thing. It's
right.
about saying, I love this, like you've just beautifully stated a few minutes ago. I am in love with this planet. I care about this planet. It's I want to be here to help the planet, right? You have this mindset about I want to be here to continue to grow my mind. I don't want to have back pain. I don't want to have that. I don't want to be that person complaining about my aches and pains every day. You didn't say those words exactly, but that's what I'm gathering
Right.
from what you're saying.
Totally.
And
Totally.
so I
How
feel,
many doctor's appointments do I have today? And I see that
I know.
so
Yeah.
much, and it's just not worth it. And yeah, so I'm in my mind, I'm conjuring up something called the grow circles, where we could come together and, like, let's focus on herbs in our garden, or let's focus on, whatever, what are we going to do inside right now. So yeah, things are in the works. Yeah.
I love it. I'm so inspired by you, and I'm excited to see what you develop, because I have this spidey sense that your gardening, your passion for gardening, the fact that you've done this YouTube video and started, or YouTube channel and started it, that it's going to blow up into something that you right now don't even know what it's going to look like, and that is a-okay.
Just let it happen, let it be. Right.
Let it happen and let it be. Well, I enjoy this conversation. Thanks
Mm,
for joining me today to,
always.
yeah, just to use your voice again, share your story. And if you know me, you know I love stories, and you know that I truly, truly believe that the more we can share our stories and courageously and bravely show up to share those stories, that we can change the world.
Indeed.
Indeed. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for those who have been watching and listening, either right now or later in life. We appreciate you.
Indeed.